everybody. Welcome back to the Intuitive Life Coaching Podcast. I am excited to share with you some things today that have come into my awareness. Awareness, is that a word? I think I may have made that up. If I did, I think it should be a real word because it just makes sense. So just to dive in a little bit, share about myself. I'm Angie. I am an intuitive. I read energy and I help people to dig in and really release things that are blocked in their energy and keeping them stuck. And so I've always had the ability to really read people and to see what is going on and know what is in their energy. And I didn't really ever pay attention to that until the last several years after I lost my dad to cancer and he started to come through and talk to me. And I really feel like in that my dad was pushing me towards my gifts and almost in a sense of like encouraging me to keep doing my journey of deconstruction from the religious mindset and really trust the journey I'm on. Just a side note, I do have a book out. It's called Leaf Lessons: When Trauma and Religion Collide, the Process of Spiritual Awakening and Healing. I do share a little bit about my story in that, about my awakening process and some visions I've had and some visitations with my dad. So I encourage you to check that out if you are on any kind of healing journey, really, particularly spiritual awakening or grief or anything that you're going through. I really want to encourage and empower people to live their best life, and whatever I can do to help with that, I want to do. I also have a 6 weeks course coming up. It is on healing and manifesting, and we dive in week by week. I have a different theme. It's kind of self-paced, and then the group will meet together once a week on Zoom. I think I've picked Sunday evenings, 7 o'clock Central Time for that. So if that doesn't work, I'm happy to see what else we can do for the people that are in different time zones. So, also I do one-on-one life coaching and healing work for mostly women, and I am happy to help anybody that is really on their healing journey or wanting to step it up and really find out what's going on in their energy, keeping them stuck or just wanting to release things. So my passion is to see people grow and live their life purpose as well, and especially empowering women to do so, as I really feel like right now is it's a time of the rise of the feminine energy, and for feminine energy to come back into power as it has been repressed for thousands of years. And I believe a lot of that comes because of religion and the suppression that came with the teachings in the religious understanding, placing women under the men and really just kind of like control. So I will get off of that tangent because what I really want to talk about today is our intuition. And I learned a very hard lesson. I won't say a hard lesson. I will say I learned a lesson this last week. So I'm usually pretty in tune with my intuition. And what I find really interesting is over the last couple of years, I've gone in and out of really being able to hear from spirit and get like divine messages, and actually have visitations from like spirits. I would say my spirit guides, some angels. I've had some visions that I've really, they've been very, very powerful. And at times I actually could, when I say see the spirits, I think everybody has a different gifting in this. Like I know people that actually have been able to see their spirit guide and know what they look like the actual, like their face and their name and what they appear to be, like if they were in a human body. Like I know I have a friend that saw a man like with a beard, and I have somebody else that saw like a Viking person, and I've heard all these things. So for myself, like I haven't, I don't, maybe I have seen, like I sense that I have seen a woman with dark hair, like long dark hair, that is like very present. Actually, I'm getting a message right now that I'm right. So I literally just felt a shift in my energy when I said that. So clearly this guide is saying, yes, you did. So yes, I have a guide. I'm just going to say I have one because I just got the ping. That is a feminine energy. I'm going to say she because that's what the spirit comes through as, a very feminine. She has long dark hair, like black hair, and just is very beautiful and gentle and guiding, but very powerful too. I have several other guides as well that are around me. When I got to know my guides, I found out I have 6 that are very present with me. And then my dad also is with me as well. And so I have 7 guides that are around me pretty much all the time. And I also have some angels. I particularly heard the name Ariel from one of the angels that has been around me. And this angel, if you kind of look it up, his job is to kind of guide us towards our soul purpose and abundance, and really opening doors for us to be led that way. And I know that each, like, according to what we can come up with in our human mind, like each angel has a different purpose and guide. Like you have Gabriel and Michael. I like to, put the E-rails on all the angels, it makes them more divine. Anyways, so all of the angels have like a reason that their purpose is to protect, their purpose is to help, their purpose, like all these things. And then we also have, every single human has guardian angels. And it's been really awesome at times when I have been doing readings for people, or when I do a Reiki session on somebody, or like whenever, like it can come through really at any time. But there has been times, I remember in particular, I was doing a reading for a woman. I'm guessing she was probably in her late 60s. And as she was standing there, I just got the presence of this ginormous angel standing behind her. And I told her that. I was like, you have a huge angel with you. And she's like, got teary-eyed, and she smiled, and she's like, really? Because I feel like I've seen it. And she said, it's bigger than my house. And I'm like, yeah, it is huge. And so it really encouraged me to be able to say that, so that I could confirm for her that she was being protected. Also, there's been times I've done Reiki sessions where I actually have felt the angel wings move, like as if they like flapped or something. I hate the word flap, but they had like kind of opened and closed around us as I was doing the session. And so there's some really amazing things in the spirit that we're not fully aware of, that it is happening around us all the time. There's always energy, there's always guides, there's always spirits around us. We are just very unaware of it because we are so caught up in our ego sometimes, and we only see in the physical realm. And what can happen is when you go through an awakening, or when you are going through an awakening, you're gradually brought into this understanding of the divine, of the spirit world, of what things are really like on the earth. And I would say that this is much like coming out of the Matrix, or moving, like some people talk about 3D and 5D and all the Ds or whatever. And I think I've mentioned this before, but like as you move through it, it's like you come into another understanding. And like I write in my book, leaf lessons about how when you're going through this awakening, it's almost as if you have been watching the world from the outside, from like if you were to be watching a computer screen or a TV screen, like you're watching the screen and seeing what's happening on the surface. Like what is the reflection coming back into your eyes? And that is the truth that you see. However, when you go through an awakening and your spirit opens, it's almost like the blinders come off your eyes and a veil is lifted and you actually go inside of the computer or the TV and you see the inner workings of it and how it actually functions. And so when you come back out and you see the actual screen and you watch what's happening on it, you have a whole nother meaning and a whole different understanding of what is happening, all of it together. So you know that what you see on the outside is not actual what is happening, like the actual truth, because there's so many more layers behind it, so much more energy behind it. And I think that we can just keep going and going and going into that energy. However, here on Earth, I don't think it's possible to go like super into all the dimensions, because we wouldn't be living in our human body then. Like we wouldn't be experiencing our human self then. However, I do think that part of the purpose that people go through the awakening is, and particularly right now, of course, I didn't live 2,000 years ago. Maybe I did. I don't know exactly when my past lives were. However, I think about times like when Jesus walked the earth, or when Buddha walked the earth, or all these other teachers that were on the earth, and they were teaching these things to the people. And clearly they made a big impact, because there's books about them, there's quotes by them, there's people worshiping them, there's religions, like there's all these things because of the influence of these people. And, not that I want to be like, compare myself to them, but I feel like there's people that are be coming into that now that are going to be guides to help bring another layer of awakening onto the earth. Because that's what Jesus was doing. That's what Buddha was doing. They were bringing into the awakening to the spirit. So it was like pulling out that inner part of the computer so that you can see it from a different view. And then when you look at the world, it's different. And I will tell you, once you understand this, there's no going back. You can't reverse your eyes being opened. And if you attempt to, or if you do, you are going to be miserable. And so I encourage you to trust this journey of awakening and what is happening, because it gets easier, I promise. I went through some very, very, very hard times. And I will tell you, like, so I started my awakening in 2016, 2017, around there. Super crazy stuff happening in my life. It just, a lot was changing for me. I was starting to question a lot of things. And then when my dad passed, it just like amplified it. It was just like, speed. I was on speed, like spiritual speed. And my gifts were like enhancing so quickly, I couldn't even keep up with it. Like, I didn't know what my gifts were. I didn't know how to use them. I didn't know what was happening to me. I felt crazy. I was seeing things. I was hearing things. It was just like, and I'd already experienced that before. Like, I'd kind of always had that throughout my entire life. But when this happened, it was like amplified. It was just like, it was like I was holding on for dear life just to keep up with what was happening in my awakening and my growth. And it was hard. And so if you're in this part of your awakening and you're feeling like you're on a white water raft or you're on a roller coaster and you're like holding on for dear life to get through this, just allow yourself to breathe. And I will tell you, I did have to reach out for support in those times because it felt overwhelming. And part of that awakening is you start to really dive into your healing. Like, you start to see things differently. You start to experience your life differently. Like, you see your parents differently. You start to see friendships differently. You start to see your job differently. It's like all these things start to change in you. So if you are in this process, just trust that you are on the right journey. And again, I'm always here if you would like to work with me. I will help you move through this because I have been there. I've experienced this. I know how crazy it is. And I will say there's going to be like, it's almost like a cycle. Like you grow, and then you calm down. And I think you go back through those because I've noticed in some sense I've had some things happening over. And I think maybe Spirit is just really trying to enhance different areas so that they can be used and refined a little bit more. And so just trust the journey. Okay. So as I am sharing all this, I'm talking about really tuning into your intuition and allowing yourself to trust your spirit, because a lot of us has been programmed to question ourselves and to and trust somebody outside of ourselves or trust something outside of ourselves. And it's really interesting how I remember doing this a lot, and I've done this. I mean, I think at sometimes I still do this, not very often, not like I used to, but like you have a question or you want to know something, and the first thing to do is like you get a ping in you, and it's almost like you know the answer, but you're not sure. So you reach out and you ask somebody else, what would you do? What do you think? What is this? And then based on what they say, we either feel like, oh yeah, okay, good. They think the same, or they do that. Or if they don't, it's like, then you question yourself even more, like, am I right? Do I trust this feeling? Like, what do I do? So I'm going to give you a little example, not a little one, a big one, of my own self ignoring my intuition. And I've told a couple of friends about this, and it's really crazy because 2 months ago, I was invited to go to a work conference down in Florida. And I live in Kansas in the middle of the U.S. And when I got the invite, something in me said, don't go. Something's going to, like, I literally heard in my spirit, something's going to happen in September, and it's going to be better that you don't go. And I didn't know what that meant. For what I actually truly thought was going to happen, because it was I think it was June or July when I got this invitation. I thought maybe by this time I would be selling my house and moving, or, changing some things in my life, and I was going to have to be here for that. However, what happened, as you all know, there was a very big hurricane in Florida this week, and I send all my love and all the healing energy to all of you who were impacted, and I send so many prayers for anybody that has lost a loved one, and also for the things that have been damaged and the rebuilding that needs to be done. So I send all my love to you if you are impacted by this, or if you have family impacted by it. So for myself, I had heard way back in June or July, whenever I got this invite, in my spirit, don't go. So I ignored it. And when I got reached out to say, hey, are you going to come? Or actually, what happened was, this lady I work with reached out and said, hey, would you want to do a Reiki, do some Reiki sessions at the conference for us? And I was like, maybe. But I wrote back and I said, actually, I'm not coming. And I told her it was because of money, which in some ways it was. But I just had this feeling that I wasn't supposed to go. And she said, oh no, you need to come. We want you there, And so what she ended up purchasing my plane ticket to get down there, and covering the conference costs for me so I could get down there. And the whole time I'm like super thankful and grateful for the help and to get there. But I'm just like, it just isn't, something's not setting right in me. Something doesn't feel right. And I kept thinking, I need to just let this go. It'll be fine. And then as the months went by, I just kind of released that. However, that ping, that feeling would come back every time I thought about going. And it was so weird. I really had to fight myself from thinking that feeling. Like, I was like, I'm going, dang it. And so what happened was all weekend long, I was in Missouri doing energy readings and healings for people. And I did I spoke at a convention about my book. It was a wonderful weekend. I loved it. I met some amazing people. I love doing healings. I love helping people. But I was exhausted. My energy was drained after 3 days of that. And so I really needed a break. So I came home very late Sunday night. I was there from Friday after like around noon all the way till Sunday night. And when I got home, I just kept thinking, I am not supposed to go. I am not supposed to go. And so what actually happened was a couple, 3 or 4 months ago, I had dropped my phone and I broke the camera on it. Actually, and then after that, I dropped my phone in the bathtub. So like within a week, I did like all this crazy stuff with my phone. And I was like, what is happening? So my camera and some things were not working on my phone very well. And before I went to Florida, I was like, I would really like to get a new phone so that I can have a camera that works. I can take pictures. And because I love to take pictures. And so I ran to the store before I drove to the airport. And I exchanged my phone and got a new one. And I just didn't feel right about it. Like they didn't have the phone I wanted. It was going to be like $200. Like, I didn't feel like I didn't have this like, yes, do it. But I did it anyways. Because I wanted to take pictures in Florida. And so I went ahead and exchanged, did all the upgrade, all that stuff. Got in my car, drove the hour and a half to the airport. Got on the plane. Went to Atlanta. I had my first plane was late leaving, and so it was late arriving, and I only had 45 minutes in between my one flight to the other. And if you've ever been in Atlanta airport, holy freaking cow, y'all. I've been there a couple times, and let me tell you, you see those people running through airports trying to catch their plane? That was me. I was running through the airport to get to the next plane because it was going to leave me. And I made it, and I was like huffing and puffing, and I got on the plane. I sat down. I was like, thank God. And the lady beside me, she was huffing and puffing too. And I was like, were you late? She's like, yes. And so we like related over that. And so I'm sitting there, and I look at my phone, and I have a voicemail. And I'm like, what is this? So I listen. It is from the hotel that I was going to be staying in that night. And as the plane is taking off to head to Florida, I listen and I call them back. And they're like, your conference has been canceled. Would you like to keep your room? What? So I called the lady that had convinced me to go. She's like, oh yeah, we canceled it because of the hurricane. Like, don't go to Florida. I'm like, dude, I'm about to get in the air and get to Florida. So it's kind of like I'm there, So I went ahead and flew all the way to Florida, and I started looking for another flight back home. However, everything was booked, so I couldn't leave until the next night. And I'm down there, so I go ahead and I'm like, I'm here. I'm going to enjoy my time. Mind you, I had just got my new phone on Tuesday. Wednesday, I'm checking out of the hotel because I had to check out at around 10 a.m. So I literally went and slept and I left. And I was going to find a coffee shop or something to go sit in until my plane left at 6:30. And I sit my phone down on the counter, and I don't realize the counter is slanted, and my phone crashes to the floor and shatters. Just got it. Just spent all this money on it. And I didn't know it. until I got back home, when I went to like look at something and I noticed the entire back was shattered up into the camera. And I'm like, what in the world? So, not only did I not listen to my intuition about going to Florida in the first place, because clearly something was telling me way before I went to not go. Two, another sign is the only reason I got my new phone was because I was going to Florida. And then I broke my phone a day later. So I am just like, this clearly is a message from my spirit and my spirit guides to trust my own intuition a little bit more. Because I could have avoided all of that. I could have avoided being exhausted because of the flight down and back within 2 days. I could have avoided all the money I spent on a new phone and then breaking it, and now an insurance claim I have to put on it. I could have avoided like needing to find a place to stay all day long in Florida with my bags, like carrying my bags around with me. Crazy day, let me tell you guys. So all that being said, I want to share with you, if there's something that you're supposed to do or you're being asked to do or you're encouraged to do or anything, and you feel anything in your energy start to restrict. Because what happens is, if you're not supposed to do it, your energy actually starts to like feel like it's squeezing you in. Like you get, at least this is what I feel, and I think a lot of people feel this, they just don't recognize it, is it's almost like you start to feel your energy squeeze it around you. This is usually a message of no, stop. Now, if you start to feel your energy expand, it's almost like when I get, like just a little bit ago when I was talking about my spirit guide and what she looked like, I literally felt an energy. It was like electricity went through my body, and I felt a release. It was like it expanding in my energy. And I knew that was my intuition and my spirit connecting with this spirit guide, and that I was actually hearing from the spirit. So when you are really tuning into your intuition and trying to understand the right and wrong, or yes or no's, or whatever it is that you're seeking, these are two ways that you can really tune in and understand what is happening in your spirit and how to listen to your own intuition, that higher self of yours that already sees things, already knows things. Because in our spirit, in the spiritual realm, that inner workings of the computer, there literally is no time. So these guides, these beings, our spirit, even the one in us, like we are all connected, and therefore our spirit is, and our guides and these beings know things prior to what they're going to happen, because to them there's not any time. It's just as if it's happening. So they may guide you and lead you in ways that don't make sense because they know what is about to happen. However, in our human mind, we can get the feeling of the inner part, the spirit part, and the pings, but we tend to look at the outside, the reflection of it in the TV or the computer screen, instead of actually inside. So if you start to really tune into this part of yourself, you will pay more attention to that expanding or restricting energy you get. And that's going to help you really get in tune with your spirit and your intuition. So I learned a lesson. Don't ignore that. Trust it. Even if somebody else thinks that you should do it. Like I ended up telling this lady afterwards, I freaking knew it. I knew I wasn't supposed to come. I knew it. And she wrote back, she texted me back. She's like, Angie, next time you have that, don't be afraid to tell me, because our higher self always is telling us the truth. I'm like, you're so right. I don't know why I didn't just tell you. I just can't come. I just don't know why. I'm just not supposed to. But clearly the universe and my guides knew that there was going to be a hurricane in the state, and I needed to avoid that so that I did not have to waste my time going there and coming right back. Not that I didn't have a beautiful time at the little bit I got on the beach, and it was so amazing, and I just really soaked that energy in as much as I could, but it could have been much different. I could have had a much different experience had I listened to my intuition. So that is what I wanted to share today. Again, please let me know if you need any help with this or if you would like to work with me. I truly am passionate about people becoming their highest self, getting to know this part of themselves, getting deeper into that inner workings of their spirit and being guided by that. And if you're ready, please reach out. You can email me. I think you can message me on my website. I'm not 100% sure, but there are ways to get a hold of me on my website. So www.leaflessons.com or .org. And yeah. Okay. I will let you go on with your day. Thank you for your time. I would love it if you could leave a review and some stars for me, 5 if you would like, because each time I get a review, each time there's stars, this actually expands to more people, and I want more people to be able to receive the messages from the Spirit that are coming through in this time. So I wish you the best day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you, and I send you all of the universal love that there is. Namaste.